Okay, we're back.
We're back.
We're so back.
So back.
We're so
Lions
back. Lions back.
2-1.
Jack and Tom and the Stew back. The Eagles back.
Back.
Vermont back.
Definitely back.
Slam T1D
Totally back.
totally back. Landon Yurgaites, he's back.
He's back.
Everyone's back, and we're back with the Pipe It Up podcast. Cue the intro. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pipe It Up podcast, the official podcast of MLW Wiffle Ball. Jack's in the house today.
Back in the stew.
Back in the stew. Going to talk a lot about the mini MLB series today. It was a good video, good series. I mentioned it a month ago how it was an exciting special event. I think I hit it on the head there.
Such a cool venue. I mean, we've talked about it obviously last year, but this year we were able. It was more of an actual event and not just a video being filmed. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So, yes, last year, due to scheduling conflicts, we had the Wiffle and the Mitten the same weekend as their Slam T1D charity tournament they do once a year. It used to be, there's always been a Wiffle Ball tournament run by a charity at that facility. Before, it was a foundation called the Travis Roy Foundation, and then Slam T1D, I think, purchased and now owns and operates that complex of fields. I want to say this is only their second year, I want to say. Second or third year. I think Slam T1D has always had an event there, but they didn't actually own and operate the fields, and now they do. So anyways, they wanted us there last year in 2022 for their charity tournament. Didn't work out with our schedules. We still wanted to go, and they were still okay with us coming. So we did our thing totally private, under wraps, sort of. But it was still cool. You know, it was cool to see it, and like it being private, it felt very nostalgic and felt like we were back at home still, and we got to really like appreciate the elements, I think, a little bit more. This year was a big, flip the switch type thing where it was much different. A lot of people, a lot of noise, a lot going on besides just our games. So we played our games coinciding with the Slam T1D tournament. So that tournament, I want to say, was 16 teams. There's more than that apply. They only pick 16, I think.
Oh, wow.
And each team's goal, big rosters. It's like you can have up to like 20 people on your team or something like that. We had like 15 on our MLW squad. But basically your goal is to go there, support the charity, have fun, play some games, raise money. So teams are ranked and graded and actually advanced through the tournament based on both their wins as well as money raised. So both those play a factor in it. And as we showed in the video.
And so how are you actually going out and raising the money?
So people do it just via their own platforms. People get, like I said, there's probably 20 people on a team. Yeah. So people that are adults are on Facebook, asking people to donate and to raise money for the cause. People at work, people they know from whatever they do in their personal lives. Of course, we have our MLW platform.
Yep.
So we raised a couple $1,000s as well. But there is one team every year that like just kills, like on the money side of things. I think this year they did over $50,000 again.
Wow.
So crazy.
And how are they?
I don't know. I don't know all the details, but
they probably don't give away their secrets.
No, not giving away their secrets, but definitely some big donors in there. And so yeah, pretty special to be there. So we got there on Friday and played 1 game Friday, 2 games Saturday, and their tournament also goes on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
oh wow.
The tournament's played on all 3 of those fields that we played on too. It's like 4 or 5 inning games, 9 people on the field at a time, just medium pitch, slow pitch. There's no it's very much MLW circa 2020. There's no hard speed limit, but it's like don't blow by people type thing.
Yeah.
But some people were pushing it, man. Some people were kind of gassing it. I pitched first, and I was really like lofting it in there. And I was asking the umpire, I was like, am I good? Am I good? Like, yeah. And then people got out there against us, and they were chucking it. And I was like, I thought this was a charity tournament, guys. What are we doing here? But it was a very fun tournament to play in. I'll be honest, the MLW boys, we didn't hit that good.
Really?
I had a couple bombs, but I think I had...
speed switch up got you.
That, and it was dark for some of our games. We're, like I said, you're hitting...
You were playing Friday night?
We played...
And then Saturday morning?
So the MLW schedule was, we played Friday at like 5:30 at Little Fenway, and then Saturday we played... This is for the... MLW League.
Or the
MLW League.
Movie.
MLW League.
Yeah, the video.
For the MLW video you guys all saw. It was 5:30 Friday at Little Fenway, and then I think Saturday was 5 or 6 p.m. on Little Wrigley. And then it was supposed to be like 7:30 or 8 p.m. on Field of Dreams, but it got pushed back a solid hour and a half because of how bad and nasty the weather was.
some pretty cool.
We've had
pretty cool shots in the video, though.
It did look cool.
With the lightning.
I was so focused on the gameplay. Of course, I noticed the lightning, but I didn't realize how.
I was surprised you didn't have a call. Yeah, I was waiting for a call about the lightning because it was so picturesque over the.
It was. I was just stressed
corn.
about getting the games done.
Right.
Like, they had a grounds crew guy there who I could tell was like anxious for us to get off so we could cover it up because those fields they're awesome as you can see.
Yeah, they are.
And playing on it it's not like it's MLB grade turf that has a great drainage system and stuff like that. We can get into that right now. Honestly, the drainage. Did you notice, Jack, my shoes at the end of the video or no?
I noticed everyone's shoes were
nasty.
just like so muddy.
What a mistake, man. So I wore like a dummy because I think it was also kind of wet last year. I just didn't think about it, but I had just cleaned, got them whitened up with my OxyClean here in the laundry machine. I had my NMDs, white shoes, white mesh shoes, like nothing. It's like wearing socks. And day one, I'm out there at Little Fenway, and I'm like, because the fields are a little bit raised, and then a lot behind the benches, like behind the foul lines, and then behind home plate, it kind of does cave down into a valley, but there's no like real drainage system. So it's just kind of sitting water. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of sloshing around a little bit on night one, and I'm like, this is not ideal, but oh well, like I'll just clean my shoes again. Well, then the second day, oh my gosh, because of the rain, dude, Mr. Schultz tried to help me, but like every foul ball I had to move and get the ball and stuff like that. When I'd say, like I was standing in mud and water, like I was underwater, my feet just submerged, and I was like, this stinks. So everyone else was muddy too, of course. They had cleats on. I didn't have cleats or other shoes. I brought one pair of shoes in the trip. That was them.
Oh, dude.
So Saturday night comes along to Sunday. We're flying home Sunday. And I was like, I can't go to the airport. And these are disgusting. They've been soaking wet for 2 days straight now. They're completely brown. Like these were white shoes. Like they're awful. So I dragged Liam in the morning. I knew Liam would be awake because he said he was an early riser kind of. So I think we were leaving the hotel around 8:30 or 9. And I texted Liam at like 7:30. I was like, yo, you up? I'm going to Walmart. So I went to Walmart. And I got myself a nice $18 pair of shoes. Great. Honestly, they're great shoes.
Great,
I don't dislike them at all.
They'll be great for a few weeks, probably.
Probably, but I took them up north with me, and I left them up there, like I was up north shoes.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so now I got a pair of shoes. Only
they're there when you need them.
Yeah, if I got to go work out up there, I got a pair of tennis shoes.
So are your other ones that got devastated? Are they going to be in use again, or are those straight to the trash can?
I tried to recover them. I do pride myself on taking care of my shoes, and I'm pretty good at making white shoes look brand new again. They look remarkable. Like it turned out better than I thought they would, but there's still evidence of some damage. But like I wore them. I went on a trip with my friends a couple weeks ago, and I brought them there as like maybe we'll go work out in the morning. Who knows? And we did, and I wore them out, and like no one was like, "Ew, your shoes are nasty." Like you can't really notice unless you're looking type thing.
All right, very good, very good.
Pretty good at it, guys. OxyClean.
Well,
magic erasers and the OxyClean powder. You put your shoes in the washing machine, you'll save yourself a lot of money.
It seems like they like having us out there as well, and so I would imagine that going back out to that venue next year would be in the plans.
Yeah.
So for all you MLW players listening, remember to bring some extra pairs of shoes.
Yes, wear boots. I'll be wearing boots next year. And a little bit of a spoiler. I don't know if it's a spoiler. Hopefully it's not a secret. But I'll leave this in here. I hope it is.
I hope it is a secret.
They are building. It's the ground is in the process of being leveled right now, and there's the areas allocated off.
A mini Comerica Park.
A mini Yankee Stadium is going to be the fourth field. So
that's awesome.
That would be a cool. What do we eliminate though? Is the question for next year. It's tough.
Ooh, this is a great.
I don't know
little prompt. Gun to your head.
I mean, just due to the drainage alone, I'd probably eliminate Little Wrigley because my feet got so wet. But Fenway's cool. Wrigley's cool. They're all cool, dude. They're all new.
Yeah.
Field of Dreams is really cool because that's real corn. That's not. Those aren't props. Like that is real corn out there that they take from a real cornfield a few days prior and actually move it and replant it so it's alive and well for that tournament. And then after that, it'll die, of course.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool.
I think
it'd be hard to take that one away.
You got to keep the Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
You got to keep the Field of Dreams. I feel like the detail in the vinage with the Wrigley is just like it's so cool. Ivy. I'd probably the ivy.
So you take out Fenway?
I think I might take out Fenway.
We have played at a lot of Fenway-esque fields before.
Yeah.
We played twice there now and then twice in Oklahoma, all Fenway replicas. So
right.
It's not the worst call, I guess. But it's a tough.
I'm also not a big like baseball buffs. So that might make a lot of people mad.
Boston Fenway Park is an actual like museum, Jack. I'm not joking. It's categorized.
I have been to a game there.
Have you? More than I've done. I've toured the stadium, and I didn't realize how much of a historical place it was until I was there. I always just thought it was cool because the Green Monster as a kid.
It's a very cool stadium.
It's like a historical museum. Like it's categorized by the city and as the state as a museum. I
think that's really cool, and I think that's what makes a lot of stadiums awesome. And baseball has that now more so than other sports, where they still have a lot of these historic stadiums. Like Detroit got rid of the Palace of Auburn Hills and the Joe Louis Arena, and now we have Little Caesars Arena where the Pistons and the Red Wings play. But like my wife and I went down to Little Caesars Arena, and it's like it's so impressive and so modern, but you almost want your stadium to have like a little grit. You know? You almost want your stadium to have a little
rough around the edges. To be honest,
you need a little chip on the stadium shoulder.
I think it's different where you're at because like LA, it makes sense to have SoFi and this like elaborate, nice thing. It's LA. When you're in Detroit, like Ford Field, it's like a little rough around the edges.
It's too nice, which sounds so backwards, but like it really is like out of place with what else, everything else around it.
Yeah, I know, but it'll age. It'll become that one day probably.
It will, yeah.
Yeah, Ford Field, like the font. This is Ford Field where the Lions play, guys. So this is where our Detroit Lions play. Shut them. 2-1, baby. 2-1. Big win. We're
back. So back.
But yeah, I think it fits the city because it's not the hugest stadium in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's not the best looking from the outside. I feel like the fonts and whatnot are very like outdated. Like it looks very 2000s.
So it's like probably the most standard dome stadium that you could make.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So,
and we love it.
Yeah. But anyway, what I was saying is, so Fenway's a museum, like I said, right? So my tour guide, I think, said they can't take it down because it's a museum. It can't be torn down.
Good.
So that's like,
that's awesome.
It's not going anywhere.
Good.
Anytime soon. And I don't think they can even take, I think they've definitely renovated it. She mentioned what's been renovated, what hasn't, but overall, it's pretty original, I think.
I think the more we can have of that in sports, the better.
I mean, at some point, though, it's probably a safety concern, Jack. You don't want people falling through.
Don't come then. Sign a waiver.
Sign a waiver? Could you imagine?
Sign a waiver.
Could you imagine?
Buy the ticket, you also sign the waiver.
Yeah.
If the seat happens to break underneath you, we are not liable.
I'd still go to the game.
I'd go.
It's a risk you're willing to take at this point.
I would take that
I'm in
risk.
pretty good health, but I'd be less likely to take my grandparents, per se, to a game.
I mean, I feel like it would be more risky to go on like any sort of rickety roller coaster that's still in existence.
That's why I don't like roller coasters.
Yeah, but those are still around.
There's too many people getting hurt at amusement parks. No, roller coasters, okay. Big theme parks, I'm okay there. But like the carnival that just is moving around on a trailer.
Oh yeah, the walking death traps.
Yeah, I'm not going.
The portable death traps.
Any of them.
You don't want those.
When you see the carnival going on the freeway just bouncing around, it's got to be so unsafe.
You mean the one that the person getting paid $12 an hour set up 20 minutes ago? You don't want to go on that ride.
This is no joke, Jack. There was someone that got. There's a traumatizing video out there that I saw a couple of years ago.
Oh, there's tons of them.
Yeah,
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying those things are horrifying.
If I go to a carnival, I'm going for a turkey leg. And
maybe a funnel cake.
Yeah. I'm not going on any rides. I'd rather give away my money to some rigged game than to get on one of these sketchy Ferris wheel looking things where you're rotating as you're going.
Let me try to chuck a ring onto a glass bottle
just to say
waste $20 doing that and not win the stuffed animal.
I will say I've won the rigged basketball games a few times where the rim is like the size of the ball. I hit a couple of those.
You got to get it perfect.
But my jump shot used to be really good. Now I have no chance.
Where the rim is like a legit oval.
Yeah.
And you got to try to fit this circle in it.
All right. Should we let Landon in? Landon join the call here.
Oh, yeah. This is a wiffle ball podcast after all.
Sometimes we get a little. I typed up so many nice notes today, too, about the series, and here we are talking about carnivals.
Yep.
But let's see what Mr. Landon Yurgaites. Landon was kind of the star of the show out there in Vermont. What's up, Landon?
Oh, thank you for having me, Tom. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Jack and I really haven't even gotten into the series yet too much. We're talking about carnival death traps.
Yep.
But anyways, congratulations on the series win, Landon. Congratulations to a strong finish on the year. I guess I will steal a little bit of the thunder I was going to get to in a moment. We got to game 2, but Landon Yurgaites, ladies and gentlemen. What was the injury in the offseason? Describe it in detail. How did it happen? What was it? What was the recovery process like?
So I screwed it up about 2 years ago playing freshman baseball. It was the sesamoid bone in my toe, so it's kind of right under your big toe. It's just
Big
that
toe.
ball of your foot.
Big toe, ball of your foot. There's a bone in there.
Yeah, and I broke it into 3 pieces, and then that being broke caused my big toe to bend kind of the other way too.
Oh,
So it's kind of just the whole process down there, and it was all screwed up for like 2 years. So I needed to get the surgery on it for a while. I tried physical therapy and other recovery to try to fix it, and it didn't work. So I had to get surgery I think it was last April or maybe May. I got surgery
well,
somewhere in there.
April
and then it
of
was
this year,
about,
right? Like a couple months ago, or this was a couple months ago, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
And it was I think it was like a 2 or 3 month full time recovery.
Okay, but
There
now
was
you're
6 weeks on crutches.
How's that big toe feeling now?
Still stiff, but it feels a lot better than it used to. I'll tell you that much.
That's good.
It's good. Well, what I was saying, so you've been back now. I think you've played in 2 series. You've started 5 games, played in 6, and very quietly, I shouldn't even say quietly, I've noticed, but he's rocking a 500 average, folks. 4 for 8 in those 6 games. You were 3 for 5 out in Vermont, 5 RBIs, including that Game 2 home run. Was it like riding a bike for you? I mean, how do you come in and just start dominating so quickly?
I have a pitching machine.
Do you?
Personal pitcher. Yeah, the personal pitcher pitching machine.
Is that Carson Yurgaites, or is this an actual machine?
Actual machine. Carson can't even throw strikes, so I have to use a machine.
Gotcha. Cool.
But so right once I got off the crutches, it was just time to get back to work. I had to get back to hitting in my yard, and I just use a machine pretty much.
What do you think was your typical average week hour wise putting in work on that machine?
I'd probably do hitting sessions like 3 to 4 days a week, and that would go on for maybe an hour or 2, some of them.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Young man's game.
Young man's game.
I mean, I was just bored. I had like nothing to do. Back from surgery, I was working like once or twice a week at Better Made Chips, so I had nothing to do, so I just hit off my pitching machine.
Better Made Chips. I used to be a big Better Made guy.
Chips. What do you do at Better Made Chips?
I packaged orders and sorted out boxes. It was real fun.
What's your favorite chip flavor?
It's not really a chip, but the white cheddar popcorn. It's probably my
Smart
favorite.
Food? Is that right? The Smart Food.
Is it Smart Food?
Is that what it's called? Am I wrong?
No, it's just
that's not Better Made.
Better Made brand.
Oh, so I just knocked off. I just listed off a competitor.
Yeah.
That's what I did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Come on,
My
Tom,
apologies to Better Made. Well, hey, if someone wants to send a check, I'll cut one of those 2 words out, but I don't think that's going to happen in the next 12 hours. So we're leaving them both in.
For the record, we would love Better Made to sponsor this podcast.
Who do you know is your uncle who works at the plant?
It's my friend's grandpa. He
Friend's grandpa. Well, he's got to get us to marketing. We got to make this happen.
Yeah.
I used to be a big Better Made guy. Not saying I'm not anymore, but I feel like now I don't buy chips. So
yeah, I try not.
I could be swayed either way.
Yeah. I mean, if we were sponsored and had chips laying around, I'd probably eat them a lot more.
If I had a bag sitting next to me that was comped, I'd probably be eating chips right now. But you know how it goes. But yeah, congratulations again on the success. I feel like the Eagles are kind of putting the pieces together right now a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's get into game 1. As I said, I wrote some notes down. Might as well use them a little bit, right, Jack? Instead of just us yammering for an hour.
Might as well.
So, yes, game 1 at Little Fenway, as I mentioned. We did start there. It made the most sense with the tournament, as Jack, you were talking about before. That's kind of like the main action. Like, they have the tent there. They have the guy on the microphone there. All the food is by Little Fenway. Crowded. Right when you walk in, it's Fenway. And then the other 2 fields are tucked behind.
Gotcha.
It was kind of cool how Kyle put that tarp shot into the fields during the rain delay, because it kind of gives you a perspective as to what it actually looks like.
Yeah, it did.
So those 2 are behind. Like, you walk in and it's Fenway, and then those 2 are behind it. If that makes sense. So, started there. We had a live national anthem for the first time, I think, in MLW history. That was kind of cool.
It's amazing. Almost Nick Sirianni'd myself
did you?
Watching the video.
You almost shed a tear? I think I almost did. It was funny because I think it was me filming, but there was a couple shots, not to make fun of the event or anything, but there was a couple shots where it sounded like whoever was filming was like tearing up a little bit, and I wasn't crying. I mean, it was definitely an emotional moment, the entire event, and hearing him talk and seeing everybody out there with type 1 diabetes. But I don't know if it was the way I was touching the camera or something, but it was funny. It sounded like someone was crying. But anyways, game 1, pitching duel. We did go to 4 innings, knotted up at 0. It was Dallas versus Kyle. Both threw pretty well. Dallas had a lot of walks, surprisingly. It's not usually like him, but that's a tough pitching environment. We saw Barron, who was money last year, also struggled at that field too. At Fenway, because Our actual pitcher's plate is placed like 8 or 9 feet behind where they have their actual built-in mound. So you're kind of like stepping uphill on the fields. I don't know if you can tell, but
that's actually interesting because I feel like this series more than others. There were a lot of missed pitches up, like high.
A lot of walks because you're striding uphill a little bit, uneven surface for sure, and you're throwing on actual dirt, so the ball's getting worn out and cracked and filled with mud. It was wet, so just mud and dust and everything. Not easy throwing strikes there for sure.
Yeah,
definitely noticed. Dallas had 6 walks in that first game. Kyle threw pretty accurately, but a lot of balls in play off Kyle.
Yeah,
I was taking a tally. I think there was 9 or 10 balls that were actually put into play by the Eagles offense in those 4 innings.
There was
crazy.
a ton, and not only in this game, but at the other fields too. There were a lot of like very, at the Meadows, they probably would have been foul balls, but they were, they were helped in, but they also kind of rode the base path. You know what I mean? To stay in.
Yeah, it was
it made some
little bit concave to where balls were falling back into the line.
Yeah,
there's a couple plays. There was a play where Nick Saylor totally should have grabbed the ball before it went back fair, and he watched it. I don't know what he was doing, but
yeah, he could have hit it, right?
Yeah, he could have just touched it. It would have been foul ball. But
yeah.
Anyways. Dallas kind of stole the show, I think. Pitched pretty well, threw a shutout, 3 for 4 at the plate, walk-off single.
I think Dan honestly had the play of the game. Like, Dallas ended up getting the walk-off hit, but game 1 was when Dan threw out
that was big.
Kyle at home, right?
That was big.
That's a tough throw to make, and he was composed there, and
it is.
He looked like he'd done that a million times.
That backstop's a lot smaller than what we have at home. That travel backstop we have was a tough throw to make, and it was an awkward angle, like you said.
Yeah.
And he had the runner going right in his throwing path. Kyle did push it. When I saw him going, I'm like, that's probably a little bit ambitious, but I'm not sure it was the wrong move, to be honest. In a 0-0 game, why not test
I think they make that throw, you tip your cap, but that's a tough throw to make. I mean, like I said, I think Dan subtly making a case for MVP in that game because that's a game-changing play right there.
Mm-hmm. Landon, what was your first impression of playing at Little Fenway? What'd you think of the field? And I guess the fields too, but.
I mean, all the fields were sweet, and it was like my first time kind of playing at like an actual like just iced out wiffle ball field, I would say. Like the Meadows and stuff is cool. But Tom, I mean, these fields were unreal.
They were. You're not wrong. But yeah, Eagles get the game 1 win from the Dallas walk-off.
Off the pesky pole.
Once again, you just can't script these things, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Fenway Park is known for the green monster, the history, and the pesky pole in right field, and Dallas boinks one right off the bottom. Dan comes home. Nice little celebration. I will say, I thought I had a pretty electric call there at the end of the game. I was sloppy overall in this series, but I thought I had a pretty electric call there. And then they had a guy on a loudspeaker who just like came in and stole my thunder. So I just like stopped talking for a second and let him take over. And after probably like a solid 30 seconds to a minute, I came back and Kyle shortened that time frame. But I was like, I'm just going to film and let the moment speak here.
Sometimes that's the best thing that broadcasters can do is just not say anything and just let the moment speak for itself.
Well, the moment had a speaker or two.
But that was really cool though to hear. Like in the video, I was like, oh, that was cool. I
got to give those guys a shout out. There was a couple guys who were alternating on the microphone. There was only a microphone at Little Fenway, like I said, but they were sort of not much giving play-by-play of the games, but sort of just doing some back and forth banter and commenting on things that were happening, funny moments, cool moments, shouting out things for the silent auction and whatnot. And they did a great job. They both had great broadcasting voices, kept it entertaining, I thought. So you heard them chime in there at the end of our game too. But overall, a good start to the weekend. Once again, you can't ask for much more than a walk-off. And that capped off our night 1. We did play our first tournament game that night at Little Wrigley. I hit a bomb. It was sick.
Nice.
Pretty electric, honestly. I could probably roll a clip. It was on our Instagram story.
Oh, let's go!
Yeah, overall, good day 1. We flew in that morning, so it was a long day for sure. Landon, you guys at my parents' house were just, you guys were just so much. I had my poor parents, they said
Rascals?
Yes. Yeah, they said yes, which was so nice of them. But so we left on a Friday. So Kyle was at our wiffle ball house editing.
At the Mecca.
So then at my parents' house, I slept on the couch, and then we had over Landon, Carson, Jackson, Dallas, and Blade.
Wow.
All of them. And our flight left at, I want to say 6:15 in the morning.
Smelly basement.
So I had them upstairs. I just said, you guys go up there and be quiet, please. But they were slamming doors and taking showers at 2 in the morning. I think I slept from 1:30 until 3:15 that day.
Oh my
So we had to get up
gosh.
at 3:15. We had to leave for the airport at 4:15. So it was just, it was a tough day.
That is a long day.
We got through it.
Well worth it,
I
though.
appreciated them all coming over early and whatnot. So yeah, well worth it. It was fun.
Well worth it for Landon, too, to come in there, game 2, and hit a bomb.
Yeah, game 2, Little Wrigley. This is day 2 now. Little uniform swap.
Oh.
Change the colors.
We should talk pants.
We should. What'd you think?
Let's talk pants.
I wanna-
Landon, what did you think about the pants?
Honestly, that was the first time I've worn baseball pants in probably like 2 or 3 years. So I kind of liked it. And I thought they looked pretty good with the socks and, the stirrups and stuff. So I thought they were pretty good.
I want to hear a comment from you first.
I have never played baseball
Mm-hmm.
or worn a baseball uniform. I really want to, though, especially after watching this video. I really want some
A lot
pants.
of players complain because, they're spoiled and they're used to wearing shorts to the field, but I'm used to baseball. So, it wouldn't bother me too much. I will say I was stressing out about so for day 2, we had, day 1 was Eagles white on white, Wildcats purple on gray.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kept them with the same pants, same belt, same stirrups for the second day, but they changed jerseys. So the Eagles were now blue shirt, white pants, and the Cats were white jersey with purple pinstripes and gray pants. And I was like, I don't know if it's going to play very well.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked around, I couldn't find anything. I found some pants that were with black pinstripes. I'm like, that's going to look whack if they have 2 different color pinstripes. And I couldn't find any purple pinstripe pants. So I did see pictures of youth baseball teams wearing white on gray. Kind of a no-no for pro baseball. It doesn't usually happen. Usually it's gray on gray or white on white or a color on gray. But typically in baseball, the home team's wearing a white pant and the away team's wearing a gray pant. So anyways, me and my head was like, I don't know if that's going to play well. But so I did try on at one point. You guys, there's a rare photo somewhere probably of me, a mirror selfie. I was wearing Austin Ford's white pinstripe jersey and the gray pants and the Cats hat, seeing if it would work. And I was like, it looks all right. Did you even notice that or not really?
I thought it looked fine.
Yeah,
I thought the gray looked
I figured
good.
most people would look fine.
Yeah.
I think it looked fine.
Yeah.
But
were they I feel like the number one complaint would just be that they're too hot. Do you think the pants were too hot, Landon?
I don't think it was that hot outside, luckily.
Yeah, it wasn't an incredibly hot series.
It wasn't St. Louis.
The 2 games we played the second day were at night too.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't really.
Maybe with the rain, it was almost even better that you guys had
the rain
pants
cooled
on.
it off for sure.
Yeah.
My poor shoes. I needed boots, but I was in shorts. I don't remember being cold. I was just wet, of course, and it was just a pain. I think part of the reason I had so many slip-ups when announcing, and I didn't have that many, but there was a couple times where Kyle had to put a thing on the screen and things like
Wrigley.
that. Yeah, that was a screw-up for sure. I was also holding the umbrella the entire time up high. I was trying to get both the camera and the pocket radar the entire time, so I was alternating arms holding this umbrella during the entirety of games 2 and 3.
I was so sore.
Yeah, it was. Luckily, because you're focused on something else, so
Yeah.
it's not only your shoulders just hurting, but it wasn't easy, and this is one more thing to worry about, So that didn't help my cause at all. But overall, game 2 definitely highlighted by the Landon home run. Pearson got wild quick.
Yeah.
I think he walked 5 guys in that first inning, only got 2 outs. 4 of those 5 guys scored, so not the start you want for the Wildcats, and they needed a win at this point still too. So
I think it's something to definitely take note of going into the playoffs because Kyle's obviously always been the Wildcats ace, and going in playoff series, there's obviously not that inning limit. So sometimes pitching depth isn't as big of a concern in the playoffs, but we even saw Kyle struggling at times to locate this series, and maybe that was due to the conditions like you mentioned.
Definitely didn't help.
But I think that lack of that known second guy for the Wildcats could be something to watch, something of concern.
Yeah, I kind of thought they had one in Pearson, and this one was a bit of a second guesser. It's probably not great for a pitcher's confidence either, the outing before your postseason outing to go out there and not be able to find the zone.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle did pitch great, I thought, but
I mean, Kyle is he's done it for so long. You expect him to come back in the next series, with some better conditions and do what he does. But
yeah, Saylor came in and cleaned up that first inning a little bit and then threw decent the rest of the way. Although Landon, once again, you homered off him.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first home run at the Wrigley Field for MLW guys, because in last year's series,
Nice.
we had one home run at Field of Dreams, which was Michael Shima. At Fenway, both Norp, Flynn, and Durand all home run at Fenway.
There were some bombs.
And then this year it was just you with the lone bomb at Wrigley. I'm sure that felt pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, I thought I had a pretty good call there, too. Pretty electric, I thought.
It was electric.
Pretty electric? Yeah,
Mhm.
good. On the other side of the ball, on the mound, Blade Walker, not the best name for a pitcher, but he's been pitching pretty good.
Yeah, I
For
mean,
a guy with the last name of Walker.
he got the job done. I think he's undefeated on the year.
He's undefeated. He does walk a lot of guys, ironically, but
yeah.
but he keeps them stranded somehow. He strands them.
He finds a way, man. He finds a way. It's almost reminiscent a little bit of some of Barron's moments last year, where there just would be guys on base and he'd just lock it down, you know?
Yeah.
Blade seems to just be finding his way out of a corner. It seems like every inning almost, but
yeah, his Arsenal's
he's hanging in there, and he it seems like he likes the slide piece, but has a few different pitches to go to. He was mixing in a little drop there at
That's
times.
what I was gonna say. Yeah, his Arsenal's not super dynamic, but great for a number 2 arm. Once again, he's a little bit wild, but he does tend to strand the guys. He pulls it together when he needs to the most. He does rock that overhand drop ball. It's pretty common amongst the young guys, I feel like. Trey Flood is a similar pitch. There's others too. Dallas kind of has it. Dallas is more of a sidearm, but same type of thing.
Yeah.
Pearson has a pitch like that. So he has that over-the-top drop ball. He mixes in a slider and a riser, but he's 3-0 on the year. His ERA is only 1.38. He's got 28 strikeouts in 13 innings. I think his whip is just over 2. That's because of the walks, once again. But overall, he's been...
and for the fans that might not know...
For the fans only.
For the fans that might not know what whip means.
Yeah, I'll tell them. I'll do us a favor. Whip is walks and hits per inning pitched. So it takes into account both walks and hits.
Gotcha.
But he's been all you can ask for in a number 2, especially when Daniel Schultz was supposed to be that guy coming into the year.
Yeah.
And Dan has not been that guy. He's been the opposite of that guy.
Not.
You almost want to... I can almost shed a tear thinking about Dan's season.
I feel real bad for Dan. I feel real bad. I know he isn't pleased with where his game has been so far this year. Game 3, obviously pretty meaningless for the
Eagles.
Meaningless for the Eagles. Yeah, it was big for the Wildcats. So pretty good opportunity for him to go in there, see if he could, dial in a little bit, get some good reps, but just didn't have it
Not
again.
good reps.
Didn't have it once again.
Nope.
Unfortunately.
It was a tough one to watch, especially because we just waited like an hour and a half to play after a big rain delay, and they untarped the field for us, and some fans stuck around, and then we start the game. Dan takes the hill, and just not a lot of noise. Not a lot of balls hitting metal. Just ball into dirt, ball into net, ball to the backstop. Nothing was hitting the metal for him. He may have thrown 2 strikes, guys.
He didn't pitch very well, but I think he had a pretty solid day hitting, and I think he's making a good case for being in the running of manager of the year. Like he's
turned it around.
He's turned it around. In the playoffs, they got a chance against the Wildbacks, the Eagles. Landon,
Wildbacks.
What did I say? Wildbacks?
I think so.
Did I say wild? We're gonna have to cut that.
No, then it's funny.
The Diamondbacks, excuse me. It's been a long day.
Been a long day. It's a Monday.
It's a Monday.
But the Lions
it's
won,
always
so
a Monday.
A little bit easier today. Just a little bit easier.
I was going to lead into a question for Landon. What has it been like playing for Dan as a manager overall this year?
Yeah, what is Dan's management style? I don't even know.
What I think Dan has done very well this year, he's given everyone, I think, a fair opportunity. And he's kind of understood that he's not hitting as well as, Dallas or Zach anymore. So he's moved himself down in the lineup, which no offense to him, but I feel like that's helped our team, giving, our better players more of a chance. And then it's kind of the same thing pitching too. He hasn't thrown good this year at all, but then he's put Blade in and Blade's thrown awesome. So I think just stepping down as a role almost as a player has helped our team out tremendously.
It's kind of interesting. It's almost a theme.
It is
throughout MLW. I mean,
except for Kyle Schultz, he's the anomaly.
I was gonna say he's almost the lone. I mean, Ryan Kratz co-manager, but
yeah,
Kyle's really the lone guy who's still sort of the true face of his team. You know what I mean? Even a guy like Drew, who was the face of the Cobras for so long has taken a step back in terms of how much he's pitching. He's still obviously a tremendous batter, but he's not pitching as much. Obviously, Tommy, not much of a force on the mound anymore, unfortunately. So it's interesting to see. I mean, it's a tough spot to be in, right? When you were always the guy, to not be that guy anymore. So I think Dan's done a good job handling that.
I think so too, and it seems like he's in very positive spirits about it as well. Like he's having fun with himself even when he's struggling. Maybe not so much in Detroit for that first day, but like in Vermont, he walked himself off the mound. Like, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. Yep, that'll do it.
That'll do it. So, Landon, I'm going to ask you about the pitching conditions in a second because you actually did pitch in this inning. But the first inning was a historically bad one. It was 9 batters, 9 plate appearances, 9 walks. So every batter that stepped into the box for the Wildcats was walked, 6 runs in, 0 outs recorded, courtesy of Dan Schultz and Landon. But how bad were the conditions given the rain that was falling, the lightning, the ball, throwing uphill? Like, how bad actually was it for you?
Well, I'd like to say I think I'm washed up on the mound now, too. I had one good outing last year.
I mean, no big toe.
I mean, and I will say, when I first got back from my injury, I didn't pitch at all. I was like, yeah, we got Dallas and Blade who are each throwing the ball great. I'm not even going to see the mound. So I honestly haven't really thrown a ball at all this year. But I've pitched horrible, and the conditions didn't help. It's a slippery ball, couldn't throw it too well. Uphill in the dark, rainy. I mean, it just wasn't a pitcher's day.
Agreed.
It's a lonely, lonely place out there.
It was lonely. It was quiet and lonely, and
it was eerily quiet in that last game.
Well, because there were so many people there that were there at Little Fenway and then at Little Wrigley, and then once again, like the weather was bad,
right?
Like, severe weather, thunderstorms type thing. So they kind of forced everybody out, and some people like drove away and then parked and then came back in. But it was very late at night too, so people had younger kids with them. It was kind of time to go. So we only probably had about 20 fans in attendance for that last game. I'd say 20, 25.
Yeah,
so much thinner crowd.
We talked about it earlier on the podcast, but the lightning was pretty sick.
It was cool.
It was cool. Yeah.
Last year we had the coyotes howling. This year we had the lightning, so we couldn't really hear anything because the thunder was too loud. But
very cool.
But it worked out well. We did have to wait out the storm. It got very windy, but luckily they have those tarps, so the fields weren't in too bad of shape. And then we helped them retarp the field as soon as the game wrapped up. And at that point, my shoes were so far gone. But I remember he's like, if you guys are wearing cleats, like change them. You're gonna get wet. Be prepared. You're gonna get wet. And I was like, I am soaked. I was like, it does not matter. My feet are gone. They are so gone. But thank goodness for the nearby Walmart. Got myself a nice pair of gray shoes. They're nice kicks. I'm telling you guys. I got a hoodie too. I actually like the hoodie a lot because I didn't bring a hoodie on the trip either, and I was cold on the plane on the way there. Turns out I was hot on the way back, so I didn't need the hoodie. But I actually like the hoodie. It's kind of like a teal green, plain unbranded hoodie. It was like $15.
Perfect.
I like it. Perfect. I've been wearing it.
Steal.
Absolute steal.
We should give Nick Saylor some credit. Another great mic'd up session for the kid.
It's never a dull moment.
Never dull,
mic'd, man.
I think he did a good job, though, just emphasizing the points in the video of, what that series really meant, kind of the bigger picture behind what we were doing there, our association with Slam T1D. And, he just had a couple comments about ultimately just, trying to make the world a better place. And it's pretty funny. Like
all-time quotes.
It is a funny quote, but at the same time, I think it is cool that we are, blessed enough to like have the opportunity to be a part of something like that.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
And like I said, when I got home from that trip, and I don't know which podcast it was in real time, probably about a month and a half ago now, but just talking about how we would love to do more stuff like that. That'd be like a goal one day would be to have more resources, more time, more people that could support things like this. Because like I get DMs sometimes like, yo, I'm 11 years old and I set up this tournament to raise money in my hometown in Pennsylvania. Like, I'd love for you guys to come. And yeah, I would love to be there, but we're just not quite there yet in terms of I can only be so many places at once. You know what I mean? So just doing at least something like this where we can do it and highlight it and make a big impact on some people's lives. I know it's pretty special for Jimmy and Trey, who were both out there with us, and all of our viewers too, who are affected by it or have children that are affected by it and that sort of thing. So definitely feel privileged that the opportunity presented itself and that it happens to line up with wiffle ball so beautifully.
Yeah.
There's really no better situation for us to do some good.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is. And that was we tried to keep it pretty raw in between games 2 and 3, or 1 and 2, when Jeff gave that speech and brought out all those affected that were at the event and just talked about the realities of the disease. I mean, it does hit you because we've all been around Norp for so many years and a couple of years now for Trey. And, you forget just how easy a lot of us have it in our day-to-day lives compared to some people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I remember some of us, they were, how he was like, point to your devices that are supporting you. I forget what they're called. I apologize. But devices that are giving them insulin every day. And both Jimmy's and Trey's are like on their butt, so they couldn't actually show them. They both kind of like pointed to their butt cheek.
I saw that. That was pretty funny.
But they had Sharpies around, so you could like draw a fake device in yourself to show support. So like I had a big old circle on my tricep, and I was like, Jim, look. And he's
Very
like,
cool.
What is that? I was like, it's to support. But it's just cool. And a lot of people there, as you saw, a lot of teams. Unfortunately, a lot of people that were there that were T1Ders who were affected by it. So I think them also having each other is cool. I know it was cool for Jimmy and Trey last year to meet some people that were also affected by it and to have that extra support that, once again, when we're there at the Meadows and Jim quickly pulls himself aside to get, a drink of soda or whatever, like you don't think twice about it, but that's the reality for people. So we stand with them. We support them.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
I think it's just sports are just so cool in that way. You know? Like a lot of, some people who aren't big sports fans might look down on those who like spend a lot of time either playing sports or just like following sports. But ultimately, this is the kind of stuff that just makes sports really cool. Like being able to bring people together like that, put on an event like that, and just feel that like sense of community. It's tough to get in other spots.
Landon, you've been acquaintances, friends with Trey for quite some time now, right?
Yeah.
We talked to him on this podcast after last year's event, I think. I think he was the guest that we had on. But what did you hear from him throughout the weekend, and how do you think he felt about everything going on?
This type of stuff helps him like open up about it more. I've known him since probably, 2019, 2020, around then. And I know how it's always affected him, and he's always talked to me about it. But, when we're out in public and stuff, he tries to keep it private. Now he's more, open to opening up,
That's cool. It's good to hear.
Yeah, I think that's good.
It's hard because I really can't relate. Like, I don't know what it's like to deal with on a day-to-day basis, but all you can do is offer a helping hand and show support. And I think Jimmy and Trey both felt that way after last weekend. Last weekend's video, I should say.
Yeah. It seems like, one of the just overarching goals of the organization is just to like continue to raise awareness and also be like accepting about, being open about it. Right. And giving people a platform to share their struggles and ultimately be able to get that support from people. So I think the more we just continue to work with them and continue to raise awareness, the better.
Yeah. I will say, too, for those listening, is there is a charity or a cause that you've supported or you would like to see you supported more of, whether it affects you or a family member or something that means a lot to you, let us know. I mean, you never know. Yeah. Something may work out, and we can always try to do our best to help. So let us know in the comments below, but appreciate that. And I appreciate everyone who's showing support in the comments for both Jimmy and Trey and for all those affected. So on that note, let's get to this week's comment of the week. And this is right along those same lines. And this person says, love the jerseys, love the soundtrack for the games, love the collab with Slam T1D. As a father of a type 1 diabetic son, it's close to my heart. Really enjoyed this one as I do with all the videos. Can't wait till the playoffs. And it's cool. It's cool to see.
Right on.
Because I'm sure, once again, and I noticed that last year with last year's video, how people were surprised that we were supporting that specific disease and charity, and they were surprised to hear that Jimmy and Trey both had type 1 diabetes. So when you see others affected, I think it makes you realize just how present it is in today's day and age.
No doubt.
But Landon, overall, you guys are going to the playoffs now. You got the D-backs in the NLDS.
The Wildbacks
in the NLDS. A little bit of a revenge tour for you guys, huh?
Yeah. I've been in the league since last year, and we have not beat Jimmy one time.
You have not beat Jimmy one time. Well,
not in a game?
We've won a game against them, but never a series. We lost all 3 games this year, and then last year we went 1-2 against them in both the regular season and the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see if we can finally get some runs across against Jim and shut it down.
This is what I want to say, Jack. This is something that I didn't say. I don't think I mentioned this specific comment in next week's playoff preview podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen since Dallas Allen sort of became Dallas Allen, since he became the ace, I feel like we've seen 2 different Eagles teams. We saw last year's first half squad, which was 8-1, dominant, best team in the league. No one was beating them in that time frame.
Nope.
Then in the second half, Jonah Heath hit the home run off of Dallas. It was a walk-off, come from behind. And ever since then, it was bad news for the Eagles. They lost that series to the D-backs. They lost the series, I think, to the Preds. Then they lost to the D-backs again in the playoffs. They start this year off by losing to us, swept by the D-backs, and then they beat the Cobras. And now it seems like they're playing like the 8-1 team again a little bit after beating the Cobras team, because they did that. Then they beat the Gators pretty handily, and now they beat the Wildcats. They're kind of getting back on track here a little bit. And same roster besides Carson. We've seen flashes of greatness. And Landon's healthy now. And I just feel like this team is a little bit more dangerous than people might give them credit for, based on what I just said.
Do you think that the struggles against the Wildbacks in the past, do you think that's a matchup thing, or do you think it's just really kind of just, a game of inches and it fell that way for you guys in the past, but not necessarily indicative of what might happen in the future?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Jimmy's a great player, obviously. He's like one of the best pitchers in the league, won MVP, back-to-back World Series. So I think any team that he's playing against, I think that's just obviously matchup based. He can go out and shove, throw a perfect game, no-hitter, whatever, anytime to get his team a win. But it's also a game of inches too. I mean, last year in the regular season, it was that Jonah Heath home run that lost us that series. In Detroit this year, it was a 1-0 game, I think, in game 2, and then game 1 was 2-0 from a home run from Pishka.
The big Pish.
So both of those games, those are just tight games that it just sucks losing those. That's just one swing of the bat.
Yep.
And then in the playoffs last year, I believe we won the first game 1-0, and then games 2 and 3, it was both just kind of a train wreck, kind of. We started out really hot in the second game, and then after, I think we got 3 runs in the first inning or 2, and then after that, it's just slowly downhill. So I feel like there's a ton of little factors that go into stuff like that. And I think it's a little bit both, matchup dependent, and then it's just a couple, bounces that go this way or that way that cause you guys to lose like a series like that.
For sure. Makes sense.
Do you think that we'll see Blade Walker on the mound in the playoffs, Landon, based on what you've heard from Dan, you guys talking about that prior to the playoffs?
We definitely could. I know Dallas's shoulder's been better, and we've kind of been limiting him a little bit. He threw 2 games against the Cobras, but he was only throwing 1 against both the Gators and the Wildcats. And then in all the appearances that Dallas has thrown, he's looked awesome. And then Blade's looked awesome too. So it wouldn't surprise me if we go like game 1, we're obviously going to go with Dallas. But whether we win or lose that game, we could go with Blade just to give teams a different look, kind of a different arm slot and some different movement.
Okay.
I think both of them have thrown well to the point where, we can throw them out in a playoff game and still win that game.
I just know last year they went all Dallas. A lot of teams rode with one guy last year, which was pretty interesting to see because in 2021 we saw a lot more alternating, I think. So we'll see how bullpens are managed this postseason by both the Eagles and company. But wish you guys the best of luck. I got to play either you or the D-backs, so we'll see what happens. I'll be watching that series very closely. I'll be taking my notes, Landon. I'll be taking my notes. We want it. We want it this year. But real quick before we wrap up, Jack, did you see the old Topps trading cards that came out too?
I did. It looked really cool. I honestly have no idea what that collection is. If you could tell some people who might not know.
Yeah, I wish I had more information on it. But for those of you who do not follow MLW on Instagram, I'm sure you do. But both Kyle Schultz and myself are featured in this year's Topps Allen and Ginter set. Is what it's called. And I'm not a trading card guru, I'll say that right now, but some people I know are a little bit into the hobby. And from what I know, Topps does a lot of sets throughout the years. Their Major League Baseball series is, Series 1, Series 2, Series 3, whatever it is, a couple different variations for each athlete. They do them for other sports besides baseball too. But the Allen and Ginter set is It's geared towards baseball, mostly. I think most of the athletes featured are baseball players, like MLB current players. But it's also a very much a special set or a niche set where they include a lot of other things too, such as celebrities, influencers. There's nature aspects included, like animals and like landmarks. There's food cards. There's just so many different odd inserts in
limited
these packs.
edition.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. From what I've heard, Topps has a couple different like interesting non-traditional sets every year, and this is one of the more popular ones, the Allen and Ginter. So this year, like Kevin Hart has a card. Lil Baby has a card. We have cards. There's some comedians that have cards. I think Ian Rappaport has a card. So just things like that. There's some female athletes that have cards, as well as like Shohei Ohtani has a card. And a lot of big MLB stars have cards. Some retired MLB guys have cards. So yeah, we got an email like last spring of 2022, that offered Kyle and I a spot in it in last year's set. And then we kind of signed the contracts for that, and then we got an email back like, hey, due to timing, can't happen. However, we'd love to have you guys on for next year's set if you're still interested, and we can lock that in right now. And we're like, yeah, that's fine. So
yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, that'll do it. So we signed on for that last year, and then we're in contact with our reps. Topps has like a company that handles the stuff for them. And so what happens is, yes, we have cards that are in there that are not signed, but both Kyle and I received, I think it was 600 cards. So this, I can validate that Topps autographs are real, because we were mailed 600 trading cards, and then one by one, we had to sit there and sign them all, and then ship them back. So if anyone pulls one of our autograph cards, I promise you that they were signed in this house. That's
really cool. Good for you guys.
Yeah, pretty cool. Definitely like a bucket list thing. Have a Topps trading card.
I was gonna say, man.
I got some nice text messages from a lot of like old baseball teammates, old friends I hadn't talked to in a long time, so that was nice. But yeah, it's cool. I don't want to take away any thunder from Pat Lee Cards, of course, our official MLW card supplier. Yeah. But this was still pretty cool too.
Very cool. That's awesome. Congratulations to you guys.
Once again, I don't know all the details about that. I will say that you can get them on the Topps website right now. They only sell them by hobby box right now, so that means like you got to spend like $140 to get like a bunch of cards. Like you'll probably get one of ours if you do buy one of those things. But I don't think you can buy individual packs yet. You can't just buy our cards individually unless you hit eBay. There is some on there listed. However, I will say, I don't make any promises, but we are supposed to be sent cards, like for promotional purposes. Like I'll give you one, or other MLW guys one. And depending on how many I get, I will offer some to some of my loyal MLW fans. I'll do like an Instagram story or something. So be on the lookout. I got a lot of family members, friends, players who want them, so we'll see what I get. But if it's like in the hundreds, then I'll try to divvy some out to some fans too. We'll see.
Very cool, dude.
But yeah, thank you to Topps for the shout out and the reach out, and of course we were happy to accept. So that's cool.
Unreal.
Yeah, unreal stuff. But I think we're good to wrap, Jack. Landon, how you feeling? Anything else you wanted to say?
Not too much here, Tom.
Not too much here.
Nothing too much coming here from Bay City.
All right. Yeah, well, you take care of that toe. Make sure you're ready for the playoffs. And besides that, thank you again, Landon. Thank you, Jack, for coming over.
Thanks, Lando.
Yep, no problem, guys.
Thank you to the fans for tuning in. Carson Yurgaites nearly lost his boarding pass at the airport in Vermont, and we will see you all next week.
Hype it up.